Okay, so as I promised, it is 8 o'clock and we are going to go in and review some of the items that the nice people from Tempo Storm have provided me with. Now, when it comes to my pack is it has no bronze items to start with. So we're basically going to be theory crafting around at least mid game or early mid game to actually building up a late game board with the items I've gotten. Now, I know that everyone's been talking about the ability first, so I'm going to do that too. And I'm sorry if it's getting redundant, but we're getting flying. So the way we had transform as a signature ability for Mac, this time we're going to be having flying, and we can make various items fly. However, it either is or it isn't kind of trigger, and it's going to be very important to navigate it alongside other nice triggers that we Bazaar players like to abuse a lot, such as haste, slow, charge especially, right? And then flying here with cell 2. Now an item, when it starts flying, unless you use a trigger that's going to say it stops flying, it's going to still be considered as flying. Now, we know that the duration of freeze and slow is half duration on such items. However, if you have applied stacks of freeze and slow before the item started flying, those will not be halved when the item starts flying. So those will be still calculated as they were before you added the flying trigger to your item at that point when it became active. Now, speaking of flying, my pack is pretty much a pack that has to do with flying. That's not difficult to guess, right? Since I opened with that. And I've seen a lot of creators who have gotten items comment on how difficult it is to possibly stop your flying items, and how we have not seen a lot of cool items that could be used well on your board to stop your flying items and cards. However, that's where I come in. I actually have two. This is one of them. Now, for the marshalling lights, they are a small item which starts at silver. They have a tag of small and tool. And they say that after 5 seconds, 2 items stop flying. Now, my guess is that the number of items it should stop. I know. I have an even better way to stop items later. You'll see. So stay tuned. My guess is that with the rarity of the item going up, the number of items being stopped from flying should also go up. Now, the only issue I see with this item is that it is a tool. It is not an item that is flying or has any charge mechanics to it. So I'm not sure how well we're going to be able to charge this up and like use it over and over again. I think it's going to have to be very much in the flavor of the item itself, which is to be used once. So you want it to go off once, you want it to stop flying whatever you want it to fly before, and then maybe launch them once more and probably like finish your opponent with like another hit after your stuff starts flying again. Maybe twice. Maybe you can use this twice in a fight, but it's not a spammy item you could use over and over again because it's a tool. So we'll see. I think it's going to be pretty useful in the upcoming boards. I don't know about you guys, how you feel about these items. Let's see the next one. So next one is, I think this is like Stell's version of basically a life preserver. Stell's version of life preserver works a bit differently. It starts at silver. So life preserver is a Vanessa item that kind of helps you survive early aggression and stuff. But here with the parachute, the idea is kind of similar, right? If you jump out of a boat in Vanessa's case, you jump into a life preserver. If in Stella's case, you jump out of a plane or whatever flying vehicle it was, you're going to grab a parachute. So it should stop you from dying, right? Now, it doesn't prevent death. That's the difference. But the first time you fall below half health each fight, use this. And it says vehicle, medium, starts at silver, and gain 10 regen for the fight, 12-second cooldown. So basically, as every parachute, you don't want to turn a parachute, like use a parachute and then like pack it up, and then use it again. So it doesn't work with the spammy charging mechanics that we've been seeing around carry items. So this is going to be like a very nice safety switch, I think, when you're mid-transitioning boards or something like that. Again, it has a trigger word for flying. When your items start or stop flying, this gains 10 region for the fight. So basically, you would have like a board that would use a lot of items that either start flying, stop flying, buff each other up with those trigger words happening in and out. And then in case you do fall below half health, the parachute gets used, and by that time the region is already significant to keep you alive in mid-game probably. I don't think many people are going to expect a lot of region on Stelle. However, that being said, I've seen some items that have region and have a possibility of building up region. There is also an item called lunchbox, I think, for Stelle that says that when you sell a food item, if you have it in your bag, you're going to get permanent region, something like the Tome of Johann on Mac. So the only thing I have not seen in like a bunch of items that have, and there really is a bunch of items for Stelle that we've seen that have region on them, is a way to translate that into aggression. So either into fire or, well, poison's not really Stelle's thing, I guess, but fire or physical damage could be a good way to translate her region into aggression. As a Mac main, it's very easy for me to see region being useful as an offensive quality of a board. However, I haven't seen a very like straightforward way to probably use it other than for defense. For now, there may be still some items coming that we haven't seen yet, so who knows. So we have parachute there. Some of these cooldowns make me think they're going to slow the game down again. Well, I'm thinking that the cooldown here is high because you want it to build up before it gets used, and you want it to get used once. I don't think it's an item that should be used over and over. I'm trying to follow, like, whenever I'm thinking about new items for new heroes coming up, I'm trying to think about the flavor of the items as well. Sometimes it does point you to the direction you should take those items when you're using them, you know? Next we have interesting, one of the rare items with ammo for Stelle. She does have a couple. So this one's just medium, does not have any other tags for now, but they do an interesting thing. They start a vehicle flying after 4 seconds, but a vehicle only. So if she has a vehicle and she has a lot of large vehicles that like to start flying, this is probably a good way to utilize it. Now, I was thinking about Stelle's skills. Thinking about Max specifically, he does have his own skills that increase his number of potion ammo, but he also has access to the gunner skill. Now, I'm not sure if Stelle will have access to the gunner skill. She probably will, and that should be a good boost for her very overwhelmingly strong items that have ammo on them. Other than that, this should be timed very wisely. So when one of your vehicles starts flying, charge it 1 second. The bottom text, whenever you see the bottom text on Bazaar items that have the start of sentence, when something happens, that's probably going to be either at least a useful item or it's going to be a good item that you can use on your boards. It's a very strong effect. It makes you like focus on a certain trigger to build up a board, and then it can shine as much as it can, right? So the graphic reference. Now here, when one of your vehicles starts flying, charge it 1 second is very strong. So even if you run out of ammo, you've already used it twice to get your vehicles that you want to use in the air flying. You've already done it. Is there a reload item? I haven't seen any Stelle reload items yet, but it could be potentially reloaded. However, the passive charge for vehicles is pretty cool, I think. So ideally, you would want to have an item that is flying and going down all the time, a vehicle, and then you could use that to charge like a large vehicle that could be a carry or something like that. Can an item start flying after it already has started flying? No, but we can, after it has already started flying, an item has to get a command to stop flying for it to be triggered into starting flying again. Stella is going to be quite a complex hero, and it will take us some time to figure out how everything works, because right now we're just theorizing. Like, I have not had the chance to try any of the testing servers. I know some other streamers have, and they probably have more wisdom than me to share on that. But from what I can see, the marshalling lights are going to be pretty good for achieving the result we're talking about. And one more idea that I had, and the item that I think everyone's going to be the most excited to see from my batch after Sandbags, the Sky Anchor. So Sky Anchor, um, medium weapon, 8 seconds cooldown, starts at gold. So as insane as it sounds, it starts at gold. Has two effects. One is to deal 100 damage, very drill-like thinking from my side, and like very Spider Maze-like. And then adjacent items stop flying. That is insane. And then in the bottom, look at this. When you slow, charge this 2 seconds. Whenever you have a when you slow, charge 2 seconds, it's a dangerous item. So thinking of Femur, thinking of Spider Maze, thinking of Drill, all those nice, very fast going items that when they get steamrolling, they are very, very difficult to stop and defend yourself from. Not only does it give you now on a gold item 100 physical damage is not that much, and I've seen people complain about Stell struggling to kind of push the values of her physical damage, to scale it up. But I don't think this is going to be about that. I think this is going to be about exploiting the adjacent items from flying and then landing, because you could make the Sky Anchor go pretty fast. It does look very strong, doesn't it? So you could possibly make the Sky Anchor with the charges go as fast as a drill, which is very, very fast, right? 0.2 seconds. 0.2 seconds is the fastest it can go, the animation of charge, right? And that would keep triggering the flying going up and down. Now, I'm not sure if there is another item that could be as fast as triggering flight to pair it up with the anchor, so that you would have your items both going up and down when it comes to flight with the anchor. Are there many small vehicle items being released? Well, I am not certain, but I've seen a couple. I remember the Omnitopter because of the reference name from Dune. I don't know if the word comes from Dune, but I remember it from Dune. The sky flying stuff that Atreides get in Arrakeen, right? So I don't know. There could be a lot of small vehicles. You can take a look at all the items that have been released in the public Google Docs. In the public Google Docs post, and I have, if you scroll all the way up to the chat of today's stream, you will see the link that I've posted, and you can check out the other published items there. I'm guessing that our items are going to be appearing at the bottom of that list shortly soon. And after the Sky Anchor, we have one more item to talk about, and that's the Squirrel suit. So there are a couple of other apparel medium items that have to do with flying and stopping flying. Mine kind of have a synergy when it comes to slowing. So if everyone was wondering where are the stop flying items, here they are. And I don't believe I'm late for coming in on Monday. A wizard is never late. He arrives precisely when he means to. So here we have a Squirrel suit. It has a 6-second cooldown. It's a silver starting item with the tags of vehicle and apparel. Now it says that this stops flying. Now when you use an adjacent flying item, this starts flying. And when this starts flying, gain 6 regen for the fight. So basically it's reliant on your flying triggers, and you can make a lot of flying triggers. I've seen other items. There is also a small item that says that I think it is a small vehicle actually, and it says immediately start flying at start of combat. So that could give you an early, it's like a clamor for flying. I guess that's going to be a very important item. There's other items that can make multiple items start flying. There is a large item starting at gold. I saw that Goose revealed it today. It gets all your items flying. That's also pretty interesting. Now, from what I can see, you can build up a lot of regen as a Mac player. I see a lot of regen build up in Stell, but I don't see a way, as I said, to actually kind of transmute all that regen into some palpable damage, whatever that may be, either fire or physical. However, the Sky Anchor, I think, is going to get a lot of use out of all the items that I've gotten in my badge. And probably we're going to see marshalling lights being useful. They start at silver, and if my guess is correct, at diamond, they should stop 5 items from flying. And considering how many spaces we have on a board in the bazaar, this being a 6th item, it could possibly get your whole board to land at the same time. But this all being said, I am very much looking forward to the new season of the Bazaar, to the new Mac item packs that I still have not seen. And I can't wait to see how all of this theory crafting that we're doing and all the items that we're collecting and presenting, how they all fit together and create a wonderful new Hero Stelle that's gonna come and join us at the Bazaar, both here in the launcher and on Steam on Wednesday. So Wednesday evening, expect that we can start playing Stelle the earliest.